Hey, what's good everybody? It's cjbeatz. We're back at it again today. Today I'm going to just make a beat in Logic. I really have nothing planned here. I'm going to be using some samples from our latest kit on frequency.com. It's called Keys on Fire. So let's just, browse through these samples here and see if something sticks out. That's fire. Yeah, I think we'll use that. I'm just going to drop it in, hit import. I'm going to take the tail off, and one way to be precise for that is to go to the end of the sample like this for a 4-bar loop. And as you can see, it already set it to 130 BPM, so we're good on that part. Logic 10.4 actually has this auto tempo detect, so if I import samples, it'll auto detect the BPM and set it for me, which is nice. So I just basically chopped off that end, and now I'm going to loop that in a 4-bar section like that. Make sure that that clipping noise when you're looping samples isn't there. Let me change this to my fade tool. I'm going to hit Command on the keyboard and hold this down to make a little fade like that. Do the same thing in the front. I'm going to zoom in. I'm holding Alt down and then using my mouse to basically zoom in like this. Okay. Let's make sure that these are short. I'm holding Command down again. I'm bringing these in like so. Do the same over here. We don't want that clipping noise, when the sample re-loops basically, so that's what we're trying to achieve here. Nice. Okay, that's a nice transition. Now we got a second one here. It's called Emerging 2. We can drop that underneath like this. So as the beat progresses, it changes up a little bit. Alright, we'll do this same thing, bring it to the end, and chop off that little end here. I'm using the backslash button in order to do that. If you want to change that, I've shown this in many videos, but if it's the first time you're watching one of my videos, then you'll want to go to Key Commands, hit Edit, type in the word split, and then select this one, split regions, events at playhead position. You see mine is using the backslash button. That's the one right beneath your delete button on your Mac keyboard. Just say learn by key position, and then hit that key on the keyboard, and it'll change it to, well, you could use something else too. You don't have to use a backslash button, but that'll allow you to chop easily using a hotkey. We're going to do the same thing with this sample here. Zoom in. Let's hold the Command button down and bring in our loop like this, fading it in and out, just really tiny. That's good. We could loop that one more time like so. Nice. Okay. So for an underlying tone, let's maybe bring in a another virtual instrument. I'm going to use Atmosphere here, and I'm going to search for like a nice deep bass sound that we can layer this with. So let me look here under synth bass maybe, and just pick a random one. I like bringing an EQ right on top of that and cutting off some of the high and mid-range frequencies there. That's a little too loud, so I'm going to bring the volume down a bit. So It's a nice bass, probably not something that we want to use with this sound, so got to find a sound that matches the first one. So I'm going to play this in a loop and then play the bass sound underneath it. Just using my MIDI keyboard here to play out a melody. Maybe something simpler. Maybe a different sound. Play it in a higher octave because sometimes you have trouble hearing to make sure it's in key. That would work. All right, let's try that. Forgot to change the octave. Let's one down. All right, like that. That. I'm probably going to change the sound of that though, because I'm not really a fan of it, but that melody's dope though for the bass. Command A, Q to quantize. Quantize your selection. I also like bringing up all my volumes like this. Whew. I think this one's off. Bass on it, so I'm going to cut some of that low end off. Maybe dip this part in a little bit. That matches. That fits nice. You could hear it. Always take note of what your beat is at in terms of decibels. So the peak level right now is at like -7 to 4. That's acceptable. Alright, cool. So maybe we can start bringing in some percussion or something like that in the second part of this hook. So I got a little intro going, then it goes into the hook, and then we'll go into the verses next. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my drum machine designer. So I'm going to create a new software instrument. I'm going to choose my drum machine designer. I got this empty patch. In order to empty them out, what you got to do is right click here, click clear all cells. At first it'll seem like none of them are cleared, but if you close this out, reopen it, they're going to be all cleared. You could save this now if you want, just by going here and then naming whatever. Like mine is empty, just empty like that. So I'm just going to load the empty one here. It's always going to come up under user patches if you're ever looking for that empty kit again. And notice I also took out all of the effects from that drum machine designer, because I want to add my own effects or whatever. So it's an empty kit basically. All right, let me just browse to some drum sounds real quick, and I'm just gonna load this puppy up with some kick drums, you know, different ones, so that I can start playing them and figuring out what I'm gonna use. Let's use some snares too. Drop those on the next line like this. You know, once you're done adding all your sounds, note that there are several pages of sounds you can add if you wanted to. But you could always go save and then save this drum kit the way that you want it, and you'll always be able to find it under the user patches. Alright, so we got some snares in there. Let's maybe add some percussion. That. And maybe some hi-hats here. Some hi-hats. And let me see here. There's an 808. We can add those later. Let's see if there's anything else. A clap maybe. Something short. I like that one. And is there anything like an open hat in here? No, not really. Percussion. Added those already. Alright, cool. So let's stick with that. And we got some drums to work with here. And so generally speaking, the way I started off is by just like finding a snare that would match. Notice that the sounds are way loud, so you got to bring them down first. So I just clicked on the sample and then lowered the volume like that. Alright, so now that I got all these volumes down, I'm going to use my MIDI keyboard and just come up with like a quick snare pattern. Find the snare that I want to use. It's at 130 BPM. Alright, here we go. Alright, Command A, Q to quantize. Quantize your selection. Come over here. If this isn't showing, press this. Go to note velocity. I'll bring all my volumes up for the drums always. Okay, now I'm noticing it's still coming in too hot, right? So let's lower those volumes a little more. Let's work on some percussion maybe here. Let's change this over to a brush tool actually, so we can erase and bring it in. And I'll set this to an eighth note. Maybe have it shorter like that. Like that little ding noise, but we got to change the pitch of it to make sure it matches the pitch of the original sample here. The sound, you know, the melody. So where is it at? All right, so here you could change the pitch, and I do this by ear. Just let it loop. It's got to sound, you know, match the key. Lower. Lower. That's good. All right, the volume's kind of high though. We could just take some of the high end off and the low end. All right, let's lower the volume a little more. That fits better. You know, I'm always trying to mix the sounds into these, into my beat as I'm making the beat. It saves time on the mix later on. Yeah, that's nice. Alright, so maybe we could just replicate that same pattern over here. Try a different sound in the back there. Ooh, that's nice. We gotta work on that sound though. Cut some of that high end and the low end off. Maybe some reverb and lower the volume. Maybe work on the decay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Alright, maybe we could start working on some hi-hats here. 8th note pattern for the hi-hat. Just to keep the rhythm going like this. Oh, that volume is way too loud. We gotta bring it down. Maybe bring the pitch down too. Some of the high end off. So now let's build in some snare, hi-hat rolls. So got my brush tool selected. Let's do a little like 132 in the beginning, maybe something faster. All right, so now we can do. So as I'm playing this or looping this off, like I'm trying to hear in my head what I'm going to do next. All right, so maybe something like that. So we could do 132 triplet. Now I'm listening to it and that is pitched too low. Okay. Okay, so we'll do like a 116 triplet. No, 1/8 triplet. It's nice, you can just go back and forth, figure things out like that. Alright. And to shorten the length of the tutorial, I'm just going to delete those, highlight these, hit Alt on my keyboard, and then click and drag it over like this. It's just going to copy it over. Like the way this and this comes together, so maybe try this. Move these over here, move this down like so. Alright, I like that better. So we could move these like this, like that. There we go. here, chop it using my backslash button. So these now become two independent MIDI channels, basically. I don't know if I'm using the right term, but you understand what I'm saying. Alright, so now select this. I'm just going to use this maybe now for the verse part. And now we can start adding some kicks maybe. I like that one here. Change this back to 1/8 note. Okay. It's kind of weak. Let's try and see if we can up the volume for that kick. Is that the kick that we're using? No, we're using 4. That's alright, we could bring that up in the mix later. Cool, now let's add an 808. I'm going to bring in another software instrument and just use a 808 that I'm used to. I'm always going mono though for the 808. You can change that in the mix too later on. I've gone over how to import sounds into EXS24 sampler and a lot of other tutorials. I also have a tutorial that goes on how to import sounds. I'll link that in the description for you. Alright, so now make it easy on ourselves here. I'm going to take these, copy these, this kick pattern. I'm going to draw in another region over here, so let's select our pencil tool and bring the cursor to the front, hit Command V. Alright, so now this original sample is in G minor, right? Let's make sure that this 808 is tuned, so I'm going to go here to metering, tuner, mono. So this should be playing, that's playing an A, it should be playing a C. So if that's the case, what we need to do is bring it up a couple notes here. Almost. Good. It's just leaning off to the left a little bit, so we got to compensate for that. I'm just making sure that I'm tuning this into the key of C, right? So that when I hit the C here, it's actually playing a C. Maybe 14 cent. It's swinging like this, but if it stays like that, if it's in the green, you're good. Alright, so this is in G minor. So find G, that's right here. Sometimes you want to play them at a higher octave. make sure that all my levels are okay and stuff, but I'm just going to throw a limiter on it for right now. Let's go to Dynamics limiter in stereo, just on the master. Maybe drop the output level to like -6. And then maybe this one we can have go. So I'm using Alt, Shift, and up on my keyboard. So maybe we can bring this one down. And I also like using the glider on my 808s. So let's do like maybe 93. So let's loop that off like so, and then I'd like maybe copying these over like this. So I'm basically arranging my beat now. Have the hook come in here. Let's just see what that sounds like. Now we need another element, like a melodic element that, helps the progression of the beat. You always want to, have some sort of like some, small change-ups in your beats so that they sound interesting. So I'm going to bring in another omnisphere and try to see if I can layer this with a different sound, maybe a bell or something higher pitch. This is a really famous one. I don't know if that'll fit to this beat. We could try. Oh, that would actually fit nicely for the hook, so let's maybe use that in the hook. Ideas change sometimes, so let's go with the flow. It's overpowering the main melody, so I'm going to use an EQ and just like drown out some of the parts of that sound. And maybe lower the volume. That's the first noise is not coming in. Oh, I didn't quantize. Okay, so double click that section, Command A and Q. Command D now on the Omnisphere to replicate that Omnisphere plugin one more time, and now we can work on that second section of the verse. How far are we in here? 34 minutes. That's pretty good. All right, let's see what else we can find here. Maybe we'll go to keyboards. Played in something real quick here. Double click, Command A, Q to quantize. Take some of that low end off. have something more percussion wise happening a little more. I think I got something here that we could use. So let's see here. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's from Amigos tutorial I did. Let's see. Some different sounds. You know what? I was thinking that. Maybe we can add that over here already. Maybe 116 triplet. Nice. All right, so now we need maybe, I don't know, an open hat or something to keep it going. So let's bring in an EXS again, stereo, and just pick something random here. Notice I'm quantizing them in triplet. I think that's what I wanted. Let's see. No, it's not. So let's do highlight these again. Let's quantize these in 116 now. Alright. One more element. Needs something else here. Maybe like a ride or something like that. Let me see what I got. Okay. A little too Christmassy, but let's see if that works. Cut off some of that high end. Let's see, quantize that. Sound is dissipating too fast, so I'm going to go ahead and change that up by adding a reverb of some kind. Let me see here. Let's do the silver verb. Just a simple reverb really quick here. Bring the dry up and bring the wet down. So let's go ahead and work on that second verse. Maybe what we can do is actually take this melody and make it slower. So let's go ahead and bounce this in place like so. See, I took the loops off and just got that main part. I'm going to bounce it in place like this. Just leave the defaults, hit OK. And I'm going to remove this one. And now what I'm going to do is time stretch it. So I want this basically to double the length than it normally is. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit Alt Command and L. It's going to ask you sure. You hit process. Now it basically stretched that to the double the length than it normally was. And now maybe we could layer it on that second part, this. So I think I'm going to cut it off there. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Definitely enjoyed making this beat and showing you guys maybe some new tricks in Logic Pro X. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Put those in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all those good things. If you want to support me and what I do, go hit up frequency.com. I'll put a link in the description for that. We have free sounds that you can get. That means loops. You can get drum sounds. We also have a bunch of different sample packs you can get. So check that out. My name's CJ, and I'm out for now. Peace.